Another tragedy has shaken the country's conscience. 6 young women hoping to enter the armed forces died in a needless stampede at the Elwak Stadium. The tragic incident, alongside publishing of the report on the helicopter crash, has once again put the spotlight on Ghana's security agencies. In this edition of Hot Issues, we delve deeper into the events and bring answers to your burning questions.
In the beginning, life feels heavy. But then, hope arrives. Star 446# saves you.
About the Elwak tragedy and other security matters in the country. My next guest doubles as Wild West MP, Honorable Peter Tobu. Honorable, you're welcome to Hot Issues.
Come in. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Let's start off with the most recent issue, the tragedy at the Elwak Sports Stadium. From the committee's point of view, what do you believe were the gaps that led to the situation we saw last week?
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to salute the people who brought me to Accra to sit in Parliament to represent them, the good people of Wild West. I know they are watching you from Wuchao to Dabo as we talk, from Poyentanga to Ga. Everybody's watching. Let me also say hello to His Excellency the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, who happens also to be the chairman of the National Security Council. I want to greet all the security chiefs, from the Chief of Defense Staff, the Inspector General of Police, the Comptroller General, the Director General of Prison Service, the Chief Fire Officer, the Director General for NACOC, the Director General for NAGMO, all of them. It is because of them that we have peace in this country. They are doing the best that they can. But, you know, I can't go without greeting my own people, members of the Defense and Interior Committee, under the chairmanship of Honorable James Agalaga. We're doing the best that we can in the area of oversight to ensure that Ghana continue to enjoy the peace that we have over the years. Unfortunately, let me say this, it's traditional. I convey my deepest condolences to the bereaved families of these 6 young girls who made a choice, a passionate choice, with bold spirit, to go and try to see if they could wear the military uniform to serve Mother Ghana. It's a very patriotic thing to do. And this was never anticipated. All of a sudden, it has happened. And all of a sudden, all of us are awake. Why did it happen? Why couldn't I prevent it? It has happened. Is there anything that we can learn? Let's look at what it is. Lucky enough for me, I think that from my oversight position, I was happy to hear the Chief of Defense Staff saying that he's establishing a BOI, Bureau of Inquiry, for them to investigate into the matter. What happened? Is it a violation of the SOP? Is this a source of indiscipline? Is it the fact that some of these young people who came around were violating rules and regulations? What is it? What is it that caused the death? What is it that brought the stampede? But I will wait for that to happen. If we want to go into the detail, we probably will be doing the investigation before the investigation. What we expect as Defense and Interior Committee is to get the BOI report. And we'll call the Minister for Interior now, the Minister of Defense, and everybody who mattered in this particular issue, for them to give us a detailed briefing. Then we'll take a look at that report. If it is worth it, we'll carry it and run with it.
Do you plan to call them before the report comes out or after the report?
No, we are calling them before the report for them to tell us what they are doing.
Okay.
Okay? When they give us their timelines, then we also tell them when we expect to hear from them again.
Okay.
And when they come back for the second time, we expect to have a full report. Then we'll look at it and see, is this something we can run with? Is this something that we can disagree with some of the points? What can we recommend? Because our oversight role is to ensure that things are done right. But if the report is okay and recommendations are made to the extent that the future can look better, that we probably will do things better than what we did to cause this, for this mess to happen, we will be okay with it. Then we'll put it before the House and let the Ghanaian people know your representative argue or advocating for a very peaceful and secure election.
When will you call them to before the committee?
You know, when it happened, all of us were sad. And I'm sure you will have listened to us on the floor of Parliament, to the point that even Haji Alad, one of my colleague MPs, looking at the mood in the House, MPs were virtually crying. 6 young girls. They are our children. So she rose up and said, young men and women in this House, including all Ghanaians who are watching us, what else can we say? God has given and God has taken. Everybody should take it easy. And I saw people taking it out of context, as if she was so heartless. No, because the House was mourning. And as a mother, she stood up to say, please take it easy. There's nothing we can do apart from correcting something for a better future. But what has happened is already happened. The damage is caused. Can we think outside the box to do something new tomorrow? We should be looking at that. But let everybody calm down and believe that what has happened, we can't say it's not godly. Because there's no way anybody can die without the knowledge of God. We all believe that God is all-knowing. He's omnipotent, He's omnipresent, He's omniscient. And that is why even in all religion, they'll tell you, God has given and God has taken. When He gave you, you smiled. When He took, you will weep. And as you weep, understand that tomorrow is there. Let's make progress.
While we are talking about the number of victims in this, we know that when it happened over the week, we were told that 5 were in ICU and then 12 of them were in critical condition. Yeah. What is the state of affairs with the victims who are still in hospital now?
The last time we paid a courtesy, we visited the sick in the hospital and met the medical director. The situation hadn't changed at the time. What we're told on that was on Thursday. We've lost 6. The number has remained 6, and we pray not to add. 5 were still in ICU. The 12 were told they were getting better, and some who were actually not in critical condition were discharged. But our interest at the point, we visited them. I remember talking to one young girl who says he's from Kaswa. And in fact, when I looked at her, if that girl should fall under the hip of a stampede, there is no way she can force herself to get up. But I thank God she was still alive. I spoke to her, and she was doing good. So far, I think that the data that we provided, or the statistics that we provided from the 37 military hospitals, hasn't changed. And the good news is that we haven't added on the fatalities. Unfortunately, we've lost the 6. But we pray that all those who are in critical condition will come back to a state that they can be discharged from the hospital.
So it is not true that there have been some more deaths since the 6 were announced?
I think when we watched the day it was, the news broke that 6 more had died, I saw the fury in the eyes of the medical director of the 37 military hospital when she came to speak like a soldier. We've lost 6, not 12. And since then, I have not heard of any other death. And we don't even pray to hear that. The doctors are not sleeping. They are doing it the best that they can in the critical care area and in other areas to ensure that all these people who are hospitalized will be discharged to go back and join their families. And I'm happy His Excellency the President is also saying, if you are able to be discharged and you are healthy enough to join the army, that should be an automatic certificate for you to go in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, I'll take you up on that. But there, the critics have said that the military should have known better. The military should have planned better with the numbers. What do you think?
You see, probably people are not looking at the history. When I came to join police in 1993, traveling all the way from my village, Poyentanga, in the Upper West region, the Wild West district, to Accra, knowing nobody. I got here, slept at the police training school, and as early as 3 a.m. we were there, and the place was packed. It's always been packed. Mass recruitment has been our practice. And nobody, with all the numbers that we had, it was centralized. Everything was happening in Accra for the whole Ghana. Nobody got injured. We went through all the processes, and some of us were lucky. But
the numbers are not the same.
Yes. The number I'm talking to you about now is more than what we had at Elwak today. But the truth of the matter is that...
You had more than 40,000 people then?
No. What we had at Elwak was not 40,000.
Was not 40,000. No, but you're talking about across the country.
No, across the country. Oh, that was huge. That was huge.
Even back then?
Back then. That was huge. But the truth of the matter is that if you say the military should have known better, crowd behavior is changing over the years. Under normal circumstances, a stadium filled with human beings, over 40,000, you can go and watch a football match and go home. If there is no stampede, nobody is having a problem. But when you have a crowd that is so anxious, very desperate for a job, and people are thinking that the best you can do to get into the queue and probably be the first to be attended to, you have the opportunity. And that is actually wrong. You see, you've gotten to do the process, the computer says you are qualified, and they've invited you for screening. As long as you are holding the summary sheet, that says you are qualified. It doesn't matter. The military can take a week.
No, so which year was this?
That was 1992.
1992?
Yes. But
that was at the beginning of the Fourth Republic.
At the beginning of the Fourth Republic.
And more than 3 decades on, if the process has not varied so much, it's not a sign of progress, is it?
I'm just coming to that point. So when we're talking about the crowd itself is not a problem. But we've gotten to an age where people think that this plan or this way of recruitment, mass recruitment, we should vary it. Because we have a lot of technology in the system for you to be able to sit in the house and know that I'm walking to the center, and when I get to the center, in the next 10 minutes, it will be my time. Right? These are technological tools that we could apply to reduce this. So what has happened is quite unfortunate. Yes. Oh, we could have planned this better. Of course. The military, if you look at what they've done, they've decentralized to the point that we were even saying decentralization in Accra should have even been different. If you have about 20,000 people gathering at one spot, it is possible you could have about 4, 5, 6 different centers in Accra alone. So that you probably will not have more than 3,000 or 4,000 at a particular center. That could be the issue. But, the soldiers have done this over the years without any problem. Normally, when you do something over and over again without experiencing any difficulty, you take it for granted. This has opened our eyes for us to realize that the crowd of 1990, crowd of 1992...
But you see, that's the problem, that 6 young women didn't have to die for us to be abreast with time. Our failure to plan as a country is what let those young women down, correct?
You see, we are talking about a national picture, and the national picture will reflect on agencies. It is a national issue. Do we plan well?
Do we?
If we plan well, we will not be investing heavily in free SHS and leave the base to rot. Because it's the base that is the quality when we talk about development. It is building that base that will give you an opportunity to develop, to become a very responsible citizen, that you can contribute to your country. The primary schools are rotten. The junior high schools are rotten. We are investing 4-something billion in the senior high school. Nobody is saying that we shouldn't do that. But as much as we agree that we should be investing heavily in the middle, let's be sure that the base is right. So planning is something that, as a country, we have a challenge. That when we have a 40-year development plan, somebody comes and says, I will not use that. I develop my own thing. We have Vision 2020. Where did it end? It ended nowhere. So as a country, we should come back, all of us, not just the armed forces. All of us should come back together and say, let the plans be strict and let the plans work. Let's follow the plan, irrespective of which party is in power. If the plan is this, that will carry us to this level, you need to carry the people to where they ought to be, not necessarily where they want to be. So if we are able to do all these things, probably planning should be infused into our own thinking. You know, why is it that as we speak...
So then,
yes.
do you admit that it was the failure of the armed forces to properly plan to take on the numbers that were coming to the Elwak Stadium that led to this?
Because I provide oversight, when you look for a straight answer from me, I will tell you if I get a report from the Bureau, the BOI report, if I get a BOI report that says that it was due to failure of the military, why did you allow 20,000 people to meet at one single spot? This was not right. Because in the decentralization concept that they used this year, you realize that there was no problem in Wa, there was no problem in Tamale, there was no problem in Takoradi, there was problem in Accra. There was problem in Accra because the Accra numbers far exceed all these other regions that I mentioned.
But there's already admission that they knew the numbers that will come.
That's
and they still didn't do anything to ensure that there is a breakdown of the numbers and the crowd is properly managed, maybe even small.
For me, I think that if it was even an open place, the numbers could be more, but they will still be able to manage. What triggered the stampede? It was the fact that the gates were locked and they were supposed to be open at a particular point in time. And when they opened the gate, everybody wanted to get in there first. That created the stampede. If it was an open space, or probably the stadium gates were all open down, if you arrive, you can be anywhere. When we come and we are settled, we'll announce, and how you arrange yourself, we'll get to know what it is done. But the fact that they were packed out there, and they opened the gate, and there was pressure for them to get in, and there was a stampede, and one person fell, another person fell, and all of a sudden
so there was that enabling environment that allowed the stampede to take place, an enabling environment that the armed forces created.
That is what I'm saying. The armed forces cannot...
So that is the admission?
No, the armed forces cannot run away from blame. Okay? Investigation will show, if we are saying the armed forces should be blamed, who was on the ground? Who should have done what? What is the SOP? What is the SOP for that day? The standard operating procedure that is supposed to guide that exercise. What was it for that day? Did somebody violate it? Did somebody become indisciplined about it? Whatever it is, we are Ghanaians. And that's why His Excellency the President, whatever he was doing, he stopped and ran to the hospital to visit these young people. That was a sign of empathy. And he knew that we have to take the blame, all of us. It's not just the armed forces. All of us as Ghanaians must take the blame and say, this should never happen again.
Why are we generalizing this? If the armed forces has done something wrong, the armed forces has done something wrong, and then we look at the problem and deal with it.
We are talking about
why do we want to blame every Ghanaian?
We are talking about planning as a country.
No, but there are people in charge to do the planning.
Yes, but I'm saying that...
So if they drop the ball, then they should be dealt with. It shouldn't be generalized and then the problem now becomes trivialized because then we are not tackling the cause of the problem. Anytime
the military direct BOI, it tells you they believe something has happened and they want to investigate it. So the direction of the bureau, the BOI itself tells you that the military says, no, this has happened. We need to investigate it. Something has happened. And they are taking responsibility for it. And they are investigating it to come out to say, yes, this is what has happened.
Do we know how long this investigation is expected to take?
I don't have an idea. But I think that when we start... we've just gotten the budget right now, but we're hoping that we'll squeeze in some space and listen to them to see the timelines that are available. But the Defense and Interior Committee, you can be rest assured, will follow up. We'll follow up.
Immediately, we know that it has sparked some reforms. Yeah. The Interior Minister addressed the press on this matter. First, let's look at the changes that are coming. We know that there should have been another set of recruitment on the 15th. It's been pushed to Monday. During that, it is even further decentralized so that there will be less people at the 15 centers they plan to create. What is the committee's thought about this?
You know, it's not a difficult thing to do. For those of us in the committee, we thought that the police have demonstrated in the immediate past that these things are doable. You don't need mass recruitment again. You don't have to gather people at one spot to do these things with technology. If you have a software upon which you generate the recruitment process, you go and fill and you are qualified. You print out the summary sheet. It is simple to even have a QR code that you can scan at the center that will tell you, yes, you have to be here at 12 o'clock. You have to be here at 1 p.m. You have to be here at 4 p.m. So you don't go and stay in the park the whole day. So you are guided by time, and you go there when it is about time for you to get. And the other issue is that the last time what the police did was basically to look at the numbers. If you have 5,000 people for a particular number, and you know you can't do 5,000 a day, You look at the system and ask yourself, how many minutes do you require to take one person through the documentation and screening process? And use that to calculate how many can we do in a day. And when you are done with that, tell yourself, how many can we do in an hour? So if I'm supposed to be probably coming at 2 o'clock, I don't come there in the morning and come and be waiting, right? Let the people know that you are coming to join a very elite service. We are very matured. We are connected to global technology. And we are understanding that, listen, recruitment process needs to be humane. So if that was what was happening in the past, what the minister announced, probably is just to enhance the process. But for me, getting more centers, using technology, letting the people, we're talking about Gen Zs. Many of these people are Gen Zs. And the Gen Zs are technology compliant. Tell them to use their phone and they'll tell, you get to know what time you are supposed to be there. At least you can be there by military police standard 15 minutes to time. If I say you should come at 12, I expect that by 12 I'll be ready for you. So you should be there at 15 minutes to time and wait. When it's 12 o'clock, you just walk in. And in 10, 15 minutes, you are done. Or probably within the 1 hour, that set of people, we face it out, you are done. And in the past, I remember I went to the police training school. I saw recruits who were sitting down there and they were giving water to drink, right? The person is not a recruit yet. These are potential recruits. And I've always said, let's not treat them as recruits. When you are a recruit, there is a particular culture we are building into you, right? And that culture we are building into you requires some level of training. But until you become a recruit, you are just a normal civilian. So when you appear before any recruitment body, you should be treated as a normal civilian. Very humane, very nice. Give you some water to drink, listen to you, check your document. If you are qualified, you are qualified. If not, you walk home. If I need you to run around the park for maybe 2-3 times to show your health status or probably the dexterity or strength of your heart, okay, I will let you do that. If you fail, you walk out. So these things are done transparently. But I think that what has happened is quite unfortunate. And what the Minister of Interior has announced, I'm sure it will be the new way to go. And I'm sure before we finish with the police recruitment, you'd have seen that this is actually what we ought to have been doing many years ago. Why are we doing them now? But at least we have started.
I guess that's a question your committee should be asking the security couples when you meet them.
Yes. Why are we doing them now? Do we need to lose a soul before we think outside the box?
Very well.
Unfortunately, that has happened. Let's make progress.
Indeed. Another thing that you had mentioned earlier I want us to look at is the issue of the automatic recruitment. Based on the reports that we have seen, even for the victims that have died, the directive is that the family nominates someone from, a relative to replace the deceased victim of the stampede. Is that standard?
Thank you very much. Over here, we are talking about the Ghanaian nature. The truth is that if I want to be a soldier, my brother doesn't want to be a soldier. My brother probably wants to work with GRE. He probably wants to work as a teacher. He doesn't want to wear the uniform. So if I am late and you ask the family to nominate a person, you must nominate a willing soul, not a compelled soul. If you nominate a compelled soul, you find a lot of people in uniform. They're actually in the uniform, but the uniform is not part of them. It's not just in the uniform professional. Even in medicine, you find a medical doctor. I mean, your father couldn't become a doctor. Your mother couldn't become a doctor. All of a sudden, you're a very brilliant chap, and everybody ensures, we want our son to be a medical doctor. We want our daughter to be a medical doctor. And they push you until you become a medical doctor. In spirit and in heart, you really don't want seeing blood. You don't enjoy seeing blood. But the pressure from society has made you a medical doctor. In your heart, you don't like it. So there's no passion for the job. And you have a lot of people who are also in uniform. They don't have passion for the job. Probably it was out of necessity. I just need salary at the end of the month. So you get in there, and finally you get problems. So His Excellency the President has made that statement, if I got it right. If it's in the family, you suffered a loss. There were 3 or 4 brothers. One of them wanted to try the army. The other 3 thought that probably there's no chance for us. So you go alone and let's see. And we still have about 2 or 3 of us who are willing. Why not? Let's see how it goes. But the person, first of all, must be willing to be patriotic, to wear the uniform. Wearing the uniform is a calling. Somebody will say it's a calling. You have to be called. If you are looking for a job just to earn salary, and you go and get a uniform job like the immigration service, okay? You wake up in the morning and you wear your uniform and put on the belt. The sound of the bell communicates a language. These are societal things I want to disclose. The sound of the belt, when you wear it, communicates a language. And that language says, as you go out, you are going to serve your country. You may not come back alive. So let your family know, this is a job I am doing for my country. If I go out and I don't come back alive, That is part of it. I've sacrificed my life to serve my country. So if you don't have the heart for that, don't go in there. It's not just about the salary. It's about service to our nation. It's about commitment to ensure that we enjoy the peace that we are enjoying over the years. And it's about you devoting your whole life, at least up to 60 years, to serve Ghana.
You were of the opinion that the incident should not have been halted. And in fact, that was in an interview with me. Subsequently, we know that it was temporarily halted. It's unclear when it comes back up for potential recruits to return to the Elwak Sports Stadium for the process. Do you still stand by your opinion that the incident shouldn't have halted the recruitment process?
My position is very clear, and I still stand on that if the incident happened at the Elwak Sports Stadium, and there are people who are going through the exercise in Wa, they had no idea what happened. There are people in Takura who had no idea what happened. People have traveled from places to be able to get to these centers. Some people live in Accra, they travel to Wa for the exercise. Some people live in Wa, they travel to Takura for the exercise. If it happened in Elwak, let's zero it at Elwak and deal with the Elwak issue.
I mean, that's what has been done.
Yes, you can suspend the Elwak issue, not suspend. My argument was, don't suspend the exercise in all entirety. No, you can suspend what people who are around Elwak will be traumatized. If you ask them to continue, that will not be fair. But suspending the whole exercise, I think that was not also going to be fair to the people. And that is exactly what the acting Minister of Defense directed, and that was what the President supported. And that is what has been done. The Elwak one is on suspension, all others are on course. And I think that is very fair.
To think that it took a while for the notice of suspension to come, at least more than 2 hours for the notice of suspension to come post the event, which means that even when the stampede took place, the process was ongoing, uninterrupted at the Elwak Sports Stadium. Is this a sign of command communication failure?
No. Probably we need to get to understand the environment in which we're operating. This is a military environment. You've gone for military recruitment. In the military, if you go out there for war, and one of you is shot dead, you don't stand and be watching and be crying and be thinking about what can I do to this dead body. No.
But there was no war.
I'm just telling the mentality. Okay. That the fact that somebody died, the soldier will continue to work. Somebody gives instructions. Because of this, people are traumatized out there. Stop the exercise now. And they will quickly stop. We are talking about a system that respects command and control. When the command comes, nobody says, I will not respect it. Everybody will respect. But until the command comes, your job is to go and do this.
Did they have to take that long for command communication to then seep down?
I am sure if you probably were at the center and you saw what happened, even under normal circumstances, if 6 people died like that, you will be traumatized. Before you are stabilized mentally to begin to think about what to do, it will take more than an hour. All of us were traumatized. Even in Parliament, when you saw the way we were speaking, everybody was touched. So let's allow that, because the whole Ghana was just up in sadness, watching 6 young girls dying? No. So if it took about 2 hours for the instructions to come, please freeze the process. That is not to say they were not fair. That is to say all of us were traumatized.
I see.
And all of us were watching to see how we can manage the situation.
Honorable, how confident are you that starting tomorrow, the 17th of November, that the processes will be smoother, the crowd will be properly controlled than we have seen already?
We are using technology now. Let's assume that even 100,000...
But have you seen the e-recruitment portal?
It will be out tomorrow.
Tomorrow when the event is taking place. So it hasn't been troubleshooting? No, troubleshooting?
No. They would have done that within their own departments, but it won't be public. If it roll out tomorrow and you apply, you see, in the application process, according to the Minister of Interior, it will take you to a particular selection venue. You choose a selection venue. Probably in one particular town, you could have about 2 or 3 venues, depending on the cut that they've given to the system to manage. We don't want any venue to be more than 3,000 people. So when you select a particular venue and it hits the 3,000, the next person, they will push you to the next venue within the same community. So gradually you get sizable numbers to manage. And apart from that, as I'm saying, if it becomes even critical, you can even use QR code to do queuing. You can use QR code to do queuing. You go and scan, and it will tell you that probably you are number 20th on the list. But they are still dealing with the first person. So if they are using 3 minutes, you just multiply. You need about 1 hour or so to be able to come back. So you go and find some banku and eat and relax somewhere. It's about 15, 30 minutes. You walk back. It should be a relaxed environment assisted by technology. I think that what has happened at Elwak, and has awakened the whole of the country in the area of recruitment. And I'm sure when the police begins, out for filling the form, we will not see that. We will not see what actually the impact of the technology is. It's on the day of the screening, on the day of documentation, that when we get the numbers gathering at venues and we see the process being smooth, that is when we say that the technology has actually assisted. But until then, let's wait and see.
Away from this, we know that your committee has paid oversight visits to, the security agencies in this country. Generally, what was the assessment that you picked up from your visits?
Thank you very much. We visited the Minister of Defense first. We met, unfortunately, my good brother who is late now, Dr. Omanu Buama, the Minister of Defense at the time. They took us through what their needs were, what their challenges were, what their success stories has been. We went to the Immigration Service, we went to the police, we went to fire, we went to Narcotics Control Commission, we met with NATMO. We did all that. But I think that the Constitution got it right. It's not for nothing that the 1992 Constitution remains the most resilient Constitution in our history. The Constitution says all these services or agencies must be adequately equipped to maintain, or equipped and maintained to perform their traditional roles. So all of them, if you go anywhere, they will tell you all the things they have done and what they are capable of doing, and they will end up by saying these are the challenges. And the challenges point to the fact that we need to be more equipped. We need to be better tooled. We need to be better maintained. So all we are doing is that we are telling the government, if there is a way out for you to look at budgeting processes, to ensure that you prioritize security and retool the security agencies, strengthen their capacity to be able to protect this country, we will be excited. And all of them, I think it was at the Ghana Immigration Service, when we got there, they had something that was quite interesting. They generate a lot of revenue. And what we're saying, what they said was that they retained a percentage of the revenue. So they were pushing for total retention of that whole percentage for a period of time for them to be able to do so many things that they are doing. Immigration is just a young service. Immigration is the youngest in the uniform in terms of fire, prisons, and police. Immigration is young, and they still have a lot to do to be able to embolden themselves. But I think so far they are doing so good. It's one of the most attractive and growing security agencies in this country. So all of them have painted good pictures with their gaps that they need us to support them to fill in.
What does retooling look like? What do they need?
Retooling, we are talking about capacity building. Because it doesn't matter all the tools or the gadgets that you bring. The human being at the center must have the capacity to deliver. One, capacity building for the men and women in uniform. And two, the logistics required for them to perform. If you are a soldier or you are a police officer, and you go, if you are a police officer and you go to a scene of crime, you've been trained very well, you have the capacity. But at the scene of crime, you need some gadgets to be able to reconstruct the scene. For instance, the scene of murder. You need to reconstruct the scene after picking some clues. And in that reconstruction stage, you'll be able to link some clues to some suspects. If you are not able to do that, your skills will be there, all right, but you will not have the capacity to succeed because you don't have the right logistics to be able to deliver. So build the capacity of the human being, give them what they require to work with, the working tools must be there, and then I'm telling you, they will fly. When you go out there in the international scene, the Ghana police officer, the Ghana armed forces, the Ghanaian soldier, we are always the best out there because everything that is required for you to use to work is there, and it's just like with your skills. And we always demonstrate that we are more capable than anybody can think of. We are among the global best. But when you come back, it's all about the tools that we need to use to work with. So when we run short of the tools and the internal capacities, we have a challenge. So all of them, we need to retool our security sector. That is non-negotiable. For
instance, the armed forces, we are told that we need to revamp their fleets, for the Air Force especially. The committee itself has also done some work in that arena in the past. Is there the money to be able to do that in the 2026 budget?
The first thing you ask yourself is it necessary? If it is necessary and it's a priority, then we'll go and ask, where can we get the money from? If it's a necessity and it's a priority, we'll go and get the money. Why are you training pilots when they don't even fly? And you know, if you don't fly for 6 months, your license can be withdrawn. There are a number of hours you must fly to keep your license active. So if you train a pilot and you call yourself a pilot, and for 6 months, you've never been in the air, You become a danger even to other people. And before you go to fly again, you have to go through simulation, you have to be certified again, you have lost your license, there's a lot. So after the Ghana Air Force, somebody, let me speak the language. Somebody said, we should have been retooled yesterday. Right? So I was excited when I saw a budget line that says 4 helicopters, 2 aircrafts, and then 2 offshore patrol boats for the Ghana Navy. That should be the beginning.
That should be the beginning.
That should be the beginning. The Ghana Armed Forces requires much more than this. But the Honorable Dr. Atuforsen, fantastic job. Things are cheaper. Things that are priced in dollar are cheaper to the Ghanaian now. The dollar is less than 11 Ghana cedis. Even the dollar was almost 17 cedis, and you are buying something $1 million, that would have given you 17 million Ghana cedis. Today, the same 17 million Ghana cedis worth of good will cost you less than 11 million Ghana cedis. You have saved about 6 million Ghana cedis. So it is time for us to purchase stuff if we think that these are priorities. Sometimes it's not necessarily to say, I have the money. How many Ghanaians are actually living within our means? How many of us? If the nation needs to be protected, the security of this country is paramount. If we are thinking of getting money to buy what is required for the Ghana Armed Forces, and we know it is a priority, we'll get the money to do it. It's not a matter of shifting the goalposts, moving some money from one agency to the other, and saying that, yes, you also need the money, but you know what? Without peace and security, you can't even do anything. So let's ensure that we are peaceful first. Let's ensure that Ghana is secured. Then we'll come and look at the rest. And I'm sure that the president will, who happens to be the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and also the chairman of the National Security Council, his eye is always on the ball. We'll do what is right.
What were the peculiar challenges? And I want to particularly talk about prisons because it would appear that it's not one of those paid attention to a lot. What were the particular challenges when you visited with the prison service? And is there any indication, because there is an 11.9 billion cedi budget for interior, is there any indication that things are changing with the state of our prisons, with the state of management of our prisons?
There is something that the president shared with us, and I think the new Director General of Ghana Prison Service, Madam Patience Bafo-Bonny, so passionate about prison service. And I would have been surprised if she was doing something else. The lady that the husband decided as a deputy superintendent of prisons to resign to be able to marry you, and you've been in there for decades, and gradually you've gotten to the tip of the organization as the head. What you need to do is to leave a legacy. And she's thinking about transforming prisons. And she's even thinking, in line with our manifesto, why do we call it prisons? Prisons is supposed to be a center for correction. And that's why in many jurisdictions they are called correctional centers. Can we change our name? It's a constitutional matter. We need to look at that. The name alone, that change of nomenclature, is a change of psychology. It is corrections. You've been jailed, sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. You will come back to society. We expect that when you come back after serving your sentence, you should be more useful to society than you were before. So, Madam Patience Bafo-Bonny is saying that let's ensure that the correction aspect of prisons is up there. And that is why she's calling for more support to be able to buy the required gadgets in the prison service within the prison. So that when you go in there and you want to learn any trade, you have the tools to be able to learn. Today they are producing water. And I encourage all the security agencies, if you want water for programs, go and order from the prisons because they have something that is innovative. And they also talk about what we call the feeding allowance for prisoners. Students, our children are getting 2 cedis a day for 1 hot meal. An adult prisoner is giving 1 cedi 80 pesos for 3 square meals.
The Interior Ministry announced increment this year.
And then we talked about that. That was just when we visited. Now, they were pushing for 10 cedis.
Right.
And the budget couldn't allow it. The president directed that it should be increased to 5 cedis. And that has been done. And I think that this whole budget you see with the Minister of Interior, that has been factored in. And at least when they ensure that their agri projects are ongoing, they can supplement government 5 cedis to be able to feed our prisoners better. If you are a prisoner, it doesn't mean that you are no longer human. Some people are in prison by default. They never committed any crime. And gradually you get out, and after appeals upon appeals, you come out and you are an innocent person. Those people should even be compensated. But if you are a criminal and you even get in there, the state is saying that we are imprisoning you in hard labor for you to reform. And when you reform and you become useful, you can come back to society. Those who are even sentenced to death. When was the last time any president ever signed a death certificate? We are even fighting to take that one out. You don't have any right to take anybody's life.
Why has this country failed to keep citizens who are north of this country secure?
I don't get a question.
Citizens north of this country, every now and then, there is one armed conflict or the other. What really is the problem as far as the committee is concerned? Why haven't we been able to keep those people in these areas safe?
Thank you very much. For the Defense and Interior Committee, what we do, we look at security holistic. I don't care whether you are Ghanaian or you are non-Ghanaian. If you live in Ghana, you should enjoy the security of Ghana. We talk about the natural Ghanaian hospitality. We are very hospitable to anybody at all we meet, to ourselves and even to strangers. So we are talking about collective security, to let everybody in this country, whether you are arriving at the airport today or you are departing today, you should have memories of a very positive system that promotes decent security. And I was surprised to see Honorable Atoforsen arrive in Parliament without any fancy crowd. He arrived in Parliament without even a bodyguard. And I was like, this cannot be the finance minister. Right? But he demonstrated to the world that, listen, Ghana is a very peaceful place. I am the finance minister. I don't need a military to follow me. I don't need a full vehicle loaded with police officers to escort me. I'm just a servant of the state.
So why are people in Binyiri, for instance, people in the Boko areas, why can't they enjoy the same safety?
Great. There are key stuff that we need to look at as a country. Chieftaincy is one of them. Land dispute is the other. Ethnic rivalry is serious. And probably we are just worsening these whole things by this endemic over-polarization of our country with partisan politics. The fact that I am an NDC and my brother is MPP, we are not enemies. What I'm saying is that the MPP's way is what I don't want. The NDC's route to development is the best for me. And you are arguing that the MPP's way is the best. So we opted to choose different routes to arrive at the same destination of getting Ghana become one of the best countries in the world. So why should we fight? So we are in Parliament. You come, the MPs are in the chamber. We are the best of friends. Why will you sit in a village somewhere, and because somebody is MPP and somebody is NDC, you are even willing to stab the person to death? If you do that, even your political masters, they will just smile at your ignorance.
What did the committee do about particularly the Binyiri clashes that occurred very recently?
When Binyiri occurred, because I am a neighboring constituency, I was home. And by my background, many years of experience in conflict areas, right from Sudan to Liberia to Afghanistan to Bosnia, I thought that it was important for me to take a step without any approval from anybody. Lives were at stake. So I took steps to get into the Solatuna Kalba district. I moved around and calmed nerves. I spoke to chiefs, and I made them to appreciate the fact that this must be nipped in the bud, or else if it blows out, for the 4 years of President John Dramani Mahama, you will not get a single development. We'll use all the money to take care of peace and security. And in fact, recently it happened. When the DCE for Solatuna Kalba appeared before the local government committee, they were asking him, your 2 quarters of common fund, what have you done with the money? He said, yeah, we received over 5 million, but everything is gone into peacekeeping. I smiled. And I said, I told you. That is just the beginning. You can be 10 years, if you are still in the conflict, we'll be thinking about the security of the people, the security of the place. We are not thinking about development. So if there is no peace and security, you can't get development.
But that's a step that you took. Going to the Solatuna Kalba district is a step that you took personally. But the committee as a whole, you did not take interest in this matter?
We did.
What did you do?
You see, what people don't know is that the committee is not an administrative operational body. The committee has an oversight role over the ministry, not even the agency. We saw what the Minister for Interior did. There's a committee in place now. We saw what His Excellency the President himself did about it, because that is his region. And we monitor these things, and we think that they are right on course. We've seen what the chiefs themselves are doing to ensure that this peace returns. The committee is right on course, and we are very alive with what is happening on the ground. And we think that what is happening now should be allowed to progress till the end. And that's why the committee is quiet.
I see. So where are we with the Boko conflict resolution?
Boko conflict, we are praying that Otunfo, he said on the 30th or the 1st of November, we are praying that when he make pronouncement, those pronouncements will begin to be the peace-building foundation for us to begin to lay some blocks And probably in the next year or two, we should see a change, Boko. If we want, it is just us. Over the years that I've served in peacekeeping missions, there is something we call local content training. You will be told in the face, it doesn't matter what you do in the peacekeeping mission. One day you go back to your country. And the people have to stay there. So they will have to continue to water the peace that you've sown and let it blossom into a tree that they can enjoy. So let them know, we have come to help you. Otumfuo is helping, right? And he's helping the people of Boko. It is the duty of the people of Boko to come and say, where we have got into, I think that enough is enough. We ourselves, we are tired, and we want peace. So whatever Otumfuo proposes, if they buy into it, they have to work on it. Because peace doesn't just come in a day. When you have a comprehensive peace agreement and you begin to implement it, it will take a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 years. But gradually you will get there. So
but you think that a resolution is in sight?
I believe that what Otumfuo has done, I don't know what the details are, but I believe that with his experience and being a king himself, he knows that the nuances around the Boko area. When he makes pronouncement, both parties will come on board and gradually will support them to build the peace.
I see. Yeah. But whatever the Otumfuo is doing, the committee should be made aware, because the committee has oversight of defense and interior.
You see, this is a presidential directive. Otumfuo is a mediator. The committee is looking at Ghana holistic, and the committee is particular about what is happening on the ground in Boko. But this mediation matter, when they make pronouncements, we will follow it up. But we will not be telling them, tell us what you want to tell them before you tell us. No. In mediation, it doesn't happen like that. Because we don't want Otumfuo to be influenced.
Or perhaps you could also ask, where are we with the Boko conflict resolution?
We know where we are.
But you said you don't know what Otumfuo has done.
No, I'm saying we know where we are. The details as what Otumfuo will say on the 30th and the 1st, we don't know. But at least we know where we are. Okay. And we know where we are going. And we believe that Otumfuo has the capacity to resolve this matter.
Fair point.
And we'll support him.
Fair point. We were in this country when the Immigration Service embarked on an exercise to rid the country of foreigners who were, for lack of a better description, begging on our streets. Where are those foreigners?
Thank you very much. These are our brothers and sisters from neighboring countries, whether they are from Burkina or from Niger. They came down here, many of them, because of they are probably victims of environmental terrorism. Your farm is dried up. Your cattle hardly get water to drink. And the push down south is a natural push. They came into this country without legal documentation. And we saw that this was becoming a source of insecurity. If we have terrorists all around us, violent extremism all around us, and you have a lot of people on your streets who are not registered, who are not even known, that is a sign of danger. So what the Interior Ministry did by the head of the Immigration Service, the Comptroller General, they decided to support them to go back home. We only supported them to go back home. If you want to come
what does that mean, that you supported them to go back home?
When we arrested them, they were never taken to court. They were never prosecuted. We knew where they came from. We just take the details. Yes, somebody, and some of them will tell you, somebody brought me here to beg, and the begging has a contractual arrangement. Probably 20% or 30% goes to the person who brought me down here. But I'm actually in school. When school opens, they will take us back. So you see us on the street, and we know what we are doing. We'll go back home. And they said, no, the way you are on the street is not a good sign for us in our security sector.
But which of our laws allows us to do that without resorting to the court before sending them away?
Listen, we happen to be in the ECOWAS sub-region. Okay? You see a lot of Nigerians here. After 90 days, you go back and register, get to the border and stamp your passport. You can live here for 90 good days. And many of those people who were here probably entered the country in a month or so. When you get them, because of the nature of the crowd, they were very young. And we knew what was in there. So what immigration did was just to support them to go back home. And we took them, the embassy supported, and then we took them back home. And that is why you see that the streets are, you can see that they are gone. We didn't want to create any diplomatic row with any other country. We are brothers and sisters. I see. Some of them, you knew why.
So does the committee know how many people we sent home?
No. I think that the report is that I have not gotten the figures right. So I won't be able to put a finger to a figure. But we're properly briefed. We're properly briefed as to what was happening. And I even told the Immigration Service, please be very humane in dealing with them.
Okay.
If you know where they came from and what some of them are going through, when you want to take them back home, assist them to go back. But don't treat them like they are just criminals. No.
Does the committee know how much cost was incurred in that exercise?
No, I don't have that. I don't have those details.
You think it will be in the report?
It should be in the report.
Why has that report not been made public?
That the briefing was for the committee. Okay. You know, it's not everything that at the committee level will make public.
But do you think that the Immigration Service should have made that report public?
The details, in fact, the action was public.
Okay, yes.
Okay, the action was public. And I don't know what else the public want. The public want to see very neat streets. The public want to see that the people are off the street. And that is exactly what the Immigration Service did. So if you want them to go and write a report...
Well, the public also wants to know that the Immigration Service is not infringed on the rights of people.
I mean, for
the public wants to know that in you saying we supported them to go back, we spent so and so money, or we didn't spend so and so money. The public wants to know how long this exercise will continue to exist in this country. And we also want to know how many people were actually sent back home.
You know, these questions you're asking, that is why you are sitting here as a member of the...
But I'm not getting any answers.
Because as a member of the Defense and Interior Committee, we ask all the questions. When we get answers, we share on need-to-know basis.
We look forward to that.
There are many things that we will never share, but we know. Unless it is dangerous, and we think that this will not inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian people, we'll make it public. But what we can contain and handle and inure to the benefit of the country, we don't need to worry your ears with so many stuff. But the Immigration Service, they're doing quite well, and I think that we need to applaud them and give them thumbs up for them to continue. Can you imagine that somebody is in uniform and he's shot dead for serving his country? Those are the trouble, the challenges they face in the field. But that has not deterred them. They are still out there trying to ensure that any foreigner who enters here, if you are becoming a danger to our security, in coordination with the Defense Intelligence and the Police Intelligence Directorate, you'll be sorted out and dealt with. What's
your level of confidence in NIMOS and their ability to fight decisively, Galamsey?
You know, the fight against Galamsey is basically on three pillars, and I want to talk about NIMOS as the enforcement as a pillar. NIMOS has been established to deal with the enforcement component of our fight against Galamsey. A 400-man force, which I am proposing, His Excellency the President, if he's listening, I am proposing that we increase the force strength to 1,000. And apart from the force strength of 1,000, let's give them what they require. You see, we train soldiers for war. Soldiers are trained for war. And in this modern era, you can actually be trained as a soldier and serve for 24 years and retire without ever going for a single war. But the war trend is changing. The nature of war in this modern world is changing. It's no longer military of a country attacking another military of a country. What is happening in the Galamsey front? If we rate it to the level that this is destroying the country, as we all agree, and you want the armed forces to get in there and do what they know doing best, raise it to 1,000, give them full retooling, give them enough resources, and give them a mandate, right? Clearly define rules of engagement, and give them timelines. For instance, let's give them 1 year, from January 2026 to 31st December 2026. We clearly define timeline. I'm sure that by the end of December 2026, you begin to show the power of the Ghana Armed Forces and how useful they are in the fight against Galamsey, very particularly the enforcement component. But if you use the armed forces to succeed in the enforcement component, we need to begin to talk about the alternative livelihood program. We need to talk about the responsible cooperative management and skill development program. These two things, when you put them together, they should be following the NIMOS success. When NIMOS moves and they are very successful, you don't allow the place to lie fallow for years. In this country, we've lost on many of these grounds. When you see there's a particular land occupied by people, and government says, no, you have to leave. This is a state land. We use it to do some construction or some development. And we sack the people to go. After 1 year, nothing happens. 2 years, nothing happens. 3 years, nothing happens. Before you get back after 5 years, the people are back. But if something happened immediately after the people leave the place, you get to realize that the place is full. Look at what Dr. Honorable Oko Vanderpoy did in Accra, where we have this mall. It was hustled. Very tough for the people to move. But immediately they moved, they started the construction. And the mall is there. And because the mall is there, nobody can come back. So when NIMOS is succeeding, alternative livelihood programs should be running. Responsible cooperative mining and skills development should be running alongside. And gradually you realize that the mining that we want to sustain our economy. Legal money, as we call it, will continue to be there, and the illegality of it all will just disappear. Mining is not our problem. It's the illegality of it, this environmental destruction of it. The fact that now Galamsey has become mining with heavy equipment, without rules and regulations, that has been our problem. If not, when I was a child, mining has been there. Galamsey has been there with pickers and shovel and whatnot. Today we do Galamsey with heavy machinery.
So until then, we're running in circles.
And we are on. We are on. Namos is on. And I think that at the weekend you see what they are doing. But I'm saying that what they are doing, if you are able to enhance their capacity with the numbers and the tooling, I'm sure that they will do a wonderful job for this country. Because they've shown a sign that that is the way to go.
Well, they have 150 million in the 2026 budget to augment their work.
No, I mean, when I saw that budget line yesterday, I smiled.
Why?
Because 150 million for NAMUS. That is just in the budget. And I'm quite sure that
too small?
It is too small. I'm quite sure that the Minister of Finance in the mid-year budget will come and do something about it. Very particularly if this suggestion of increasing the force strength of NAMUS from a 400 force to 1,000. We'll have to come and look at it. Even that, if the force strength even still remains at 400, 150 million for NAMUS, looking at the volume of work that they have to do, looking at their mandate, I'm sure in the mid-year budget review, the Minister of Finance will do something about that. Yeah.
I see. We look forward to what is done. But has the committee been looking into the Obuasi mine shooting?
That matter is a matter that we are looking at, and we are hoping that, so we are linking all that to the fight against Galamsey. Okay? It's a holistic thing we are looking at. But zeroing on the Obuasi mine shooting, we are still waiting to see what will finally happen. Sometimes I wasn't...
But who is looking into it now? Do you know?
No. Right now, probably the synopsis you gave me, you never included this. So I have not actually taken my time to refresh myself on the matter. So don't let me comment on it at all.
Well, but that is it. It also means that we are not looking into this incident as closely as we should, because it's not even before the committee. Is it before the committee?
No. What I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
When you invite me for a program, you give me synopsis. I zero in to give you the best. So if you mention something that I have not read about, I don't want to make a comment and go and open the report and say, oh, no, this is not right. You shouldn't have said this. So just save me, but not let me comment. Let me comment on it, okay? Well, so let's let it go.
If you do not have a comment, that's all right. So but I also want to ask you whether or not the committee has shown any interest in looking into the recent attack, the Shudium attack on the EPA and journalists.
There is something that the committee is interested in, which is broader. The emerging trend of attacks on uniformed men and uniform properties, okay? Why would civilians gather the courage to attack soldiers? Why would they gather the courage to attack police officers? Gather the courage to go and attack a police station? We are looking at that broadly, but we are believing that if you look at it, you see, there's something we call the broken windows principle. When you are living in a house and your padlock spoils and you say there's no problem, the next time a small louver blade breaks down, you say, oh, there's no problem. Before you realize the ceiling is leaking, small, before you realize the whole building will just collapse. Broken windows principle. You see signs of indiscipline in the past, and we are ignoring them. Gradually, people are being emboldened to see somebody wearing green and armed, and yet you go and attack. You don't really care, because you think that the person cannot shoot to kill. They are not armed to shoot to kill. No, they are armed to protect and defend Ghana. But they are not there for you to manhandle them. I think that the National Security Council has condemned this, and I want to add my voice here. Let's not go that way. They are capable of defending this country and capable of defending themselves, but they don't want to do that recklessly.
Very well. Honorable, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Always a pleasure.
Peter Lanchene Tobu is WA West Member of Parliament. He's also Vice Chair for Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee. We've been discussing all things defence and interior. If you missed it, there's a playback on our social media handles. I'm Kemeni Amano, and this is Hot Issues. Bye-bye.
Dear Santa, all I want is